All right, it's 12:03. I'm going to call the meeting to order. On this today is Michael Doctor, Jane Nevin-Smith, and John LaPere, and Shardul Parmar. And today we're meeting with Walter Gray from Power Options,
Right.
and we're the solar committee for Hadley. We are, just to give you a background, we've been tasked to go and look at the options for our closed landfill to go and to install solar there, where we started from this process over a year ago. We were looking to do a municipally owned solar system. However, because of the way that the legislation has changed or the opportunities for us to go and receive credits and financial incentives for us to do it ourselves, we have since pivoted to a leased system where we are going to be having an outside company lease the property from us, where the town will not have any responsibility in terms of the build out or infrastructure to have this facility be constructed, and it will be purely on a landlord tenant relationship where we are going to be receiving some lease income in the form of a pilot, and also the credits generated from 30% roughly of the credits, or some percentage of the credits from the generation of the electricity. So we were told that Power Options is a organization that can help us with the vetting process and really educating and being our agent to go and essentially having us navigate through this process, and ensuring that whoever we do choose is going to be somebody that's going to be reputable, and also understanding the terms and conditions and other aspects of leasing this property out. So from there, Walter, I think our goal is this is a kind of a kickoff meeting to try to get an idea of what you guys, we have an idea what you do, but I guess this is really our first meeting, so I'll let you do your song and dance.
Great. It's a very practiced song and dance at this point. Well, nice to meet you, Walter Graham, Program Director at Power Options. So I thought it would be helpful to give a little bit of background on just Power Options and our solar program first. And then there are a couple key consideration points that I just want to make sure that you're aware of that I think are going to help guide our path forward on this. So upfront, Power Options, we're a nonprofit energy buying consortium. So we were created in 1998 um, as a part of the Massachusetts state government through the Health and Education Facilities Authority to aggregate the buying power of state agencies to go up to bid as a group and negotiate, leverage the collective buying power to negotiate advantageous energy purchasing deals. We since spun off into an independent nonprofit and broadened our membership. So we serve not only, we still have a lot of state agencies, but we also are open to any nonprofit or public entity across Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Maine now. So a lot of our members are municipalities, state agencies, housing authorities, higher education, healthcare, all the way down to small local houses of worship, performing arts centers, etc. So our model is to leverage the collective buying power of our 830 plus members at this point to go out to bid on a programmatic basis for our buying programs. So we currently have programs for the purchase of energy commodities, so electricity and natural gas. We have, of course, our solar program, which we've been doing since 2011. And I should probably know these numbers off the top of my head. but we're at well over 100 megawatts in projects developed, dozens of municipalities at this point, all different types of projects. We also have programs for EV charging, and building decarbonization, as well as consulting services with energy planning, decarbonization, and sustainability reporting and planning, and fleet electrification planning. So solar specifically, the way this works through our program is that we go out to bid and we select usually one supplier of our solar program. In this case, currently we have two suppliers under our solar program. We're really driven by just what we get back from the RFP and who we pick and how many developers we work with. We currently work with Sunwealth, who I believe you've been acquainted with, as well as a company called Select Energy. So those are our two suppliers right now. And what we get out of the RFP process is really two things. One, we get a price modeling pro forma. So any project offered under our program has to conform with the program pricing rules. So it not only contains the build costs of the project, but also certain financial modeling conventions and agreements so that we can translate that build cost, factor in all the incentives, and wind up coming up with a PPA rate or a discount rate in this case for the purchase and net metering credits. We also have a contract under our program so that the contract, obviously always best practice to get it vetted by your counsel, but we've already done vetting to make sure that we're comfortable with what you're signing. So I'll pause there because I want to transition to talking about your project and how we can help. But that's the setup, song and dance on power options in our solar program.
That sounds great. Does anybody in the committee have any questions?
Yeah, so one of my questions is, um, sounds like just what we're looking for. When we sign on with you, is that a long-term relationship or a year or two?
So hopefully it would be a long-term relationship. The requirement, and I should have touched on this, so thanks for that question. The membership in Power Options is required to affect the procurement pathway under our program. So typically, as you know, as a public entity, you're typically required to go out to competitive procurement for products and services. We operate under a specific enabling statute under the Mass General laws. And I can send this via follow-up email so you don't have to remember, but it's MGL 164-137, which allows for public entities to participate in competitively procured group purchasing programs for electricity products or services. And this is something, it's always would have to get your council comfortable with this, but we've done that, 100 plus times at this point. So it's very tried and true. It's nothing overly creative at this point or innovative, but the real benefit to this is that your municipalities are specifically restricted from entering into lease agreements without a competitive process, and our statute specifically allows municipalities to enter into these leases in connection with these solar projects. So it's all very buttoned up and easy. So you would have to join Power Options. The statute requires that you have to join and become a member of a competitively procured program, and there are membership dues associated with Power Options, which are right on our website. It's pretty tiny. It would be $1,000-ish max for you.
And
Or
that's an annual cost.
it's an annual cost, but there's no so you do have to be a member of Power Options at the time you enter in, on or around the time that you enter into a contract to buy something under one of our programs. but we're deliberate in that we don't require you to maintain a membership. We're a nonprofit. We're here to help. So, to the extent that we can um, show you further benefit, you'll choose to remain a member. And if we really can't help you in any way, then we don't want to force you to maintain a membership.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Any other questions on Power Options, our program?
It sounds like just what we need at this point to go forward, and our select board has approved the $1,000 membership, and so you know, it sounds like we're ready to do that, um, and then you would take it from there in terms of what would happen if we did that tomorrow. What would that inspire on your end to take place?
Sure. So I would love to have you as a member, but there's really no, you shouldn't really do that until you're sure that there's something you want to buy under a program. I know you're very interested in the solar project and it looks like it's coming together well. But you really only need to join Power Options when you're actually ready to sign the contract. So you can absolutely hold off on that if you'd like. Um,
Well, let me interject there, and say we need your help getting the contract.
Yeah, would do that regardless.
Okay.
So,
But you want us to wait until we're at the point where there is a working document with an organization so that then you would go and kind of guide us with that document. Is that accurate?
yeah, you can join whenever you'd like to. There's no difference in how I would act or what I would or wouldn't do. Our mission is to serve public entities, so that's clearly within the scope of what I would do, regardless of whether you're a Power Options member or not. You just have to be a member before or shortly after you sign the contract.
I
Does that
guess the
make
question,
sense?
yeah,
Yeah,
I guess the question,
we would
question
need to see your contract to send our legal team.
Yeah, we don't really have a contract. It's just the membership form
Okay,
online.
okay.
I think the question is that, whether it's SunPower or SunWealth, or another entity. Um, we were just wondering in terms of, are you only reviewing like contracts or things that have already been vetted by you, or are you open to looking at, let's say, we have a proposal from a company that's not somebody that's in your ecosystem, that's outside of there,
No, we wouldn't do contract review for that. That'd be best
or
done by
out.
an energy attorney.
Okay, so it has to be somebody that is already through your process.
Yes. We wouldn't step in to help you negotiate and enter into a contract with a solar company that wasn't one of our suppliers.
Got it. Got it.
Yeah. So on this, and I just want to set up front, so just kind of pivoting to execution and how we move forward with this. So the big really target that we're looking at, and you may already be aware of this, is we want to get your project in to qualify for the solar investment tax credit. Have you looked into that, or are you familiar with how that works at all?
Yes, but that is the whole reason we pivoted to having a private asset owner do this, because they're going to get through. They're going to have the capacity to enter into a safe harbor and expend the cash to do that. Um, we
Yes.
we were under the assumption that, and and we were preferring, I believe, um, that we would join your entity, and then you would meet the bidding requirements that we need, which you have by awarding to these two companies already. Of one of them we are interested in
Exactly.
working with. Um, and so, if I think if we go to contract on our own without your blessing and your competitive process, we could run the risk of violating, the proper competitive bidding processes that as a town we might be required to do.
Yes, that's certainly a possibility. I think that the big concern would be the investment tax credit safe harbor date. Um, so you do need to sign a contract and safe harbor by July 4th.
Right.
And if you were to go out to bid at this point, I would be seriously concerned that I think that would be a long shot
Right.
to initiate and conclude an RFP process
Right.
and agree on the contract and everything and get that um, payment done by the 4th.
So safe harbor seems like a intermediate step here that we haven't necessarily pursued information about.
Well, you wouldn't have to do anything. So the way it would work under a power purchase agreement construct is that it's really the project owner, the long-term project owner, that has to make that safe harbor payment. So if you were to enter into a PPA, it's all behind the curtain. So the project developer would enter into they would be the ones safe harboring and making the payment by July 4th.
But because they have to do it, they have a deadline, we have a deadline, essentially.
Yes. Yes. And I wouldn't, the July 4th date is per the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. Um, the what I'm advising people is to really think about it like early June. Like what we're going to see here. For example, at Power Options, we've never been this busy with solar projects. Everybody's trying to get their projects in before the tax credit goes away. So what that means is just a lot of different pinch points. The utilities are slower in approving and reviewing interconnection applications. The developers are all busy. Um, I think we're going to see some pinch points around labor to get the projects built. So just a lot of shortages going around. So one of those being legal resources. So even the in-house attorneys at the solar developers are going to be slower. So I don't want you thinking that you can get it done on like July 1st and be all good. We need to cut some
So
time.
what is our next step?
Well, so your next step is I want to talk through your options. So this project was brought to us by Sunwealth. The way that Sunwealth characterized it was that it was originally developed by a company, Hyperion, and pitched to the town in connection with some other projects Hyperion's building in town. So Sunwealth brought it to us, but the way our program is segmented is that we gave exclusivity over projects with municipalities to our other developer Select. So I think in terms of who you work with, I think they're both experienced and capable here, but I would have to get a waiver from Select if you wanted to work with Sunwealth. And so really what I wanted to get out of this was guidance on what do you want to stick with Sunwealth? Do you think that's what's fair and would help you get this done faster? Sunwealth's extremely reputable. We wouldn't work with them if they weren't. If you've already started the process of selling this internally and moving forward with Sunwealth, I would probably want to keep that momentum, just because the ITC deadline is so consequential. But I really wanted feedback from you. If you don't care, if it's just one proposal that's in front of you, then I'd probably treat it differently. And um, maybe would want to pivot to Select. So I just wanted feedback from you on that.
I would say we want the most financially advantageous developer
Okay.
for the project. So whether it's Sunwealth or Select, we don't think that we're not, again, we're as landlords, we're looking towards what's financially best for the town.
Okay. Okay. So
We've made one baby step of signing a memorandum of understanding with Sunwealth, or that we have gotten approval from the Hadley Select Board to do that. Um,
did you actually sign it yet?
no.
There's nothing binding.
Okay.
There's nothing
Okay.
binding us to send wealth. I guess that's the way that we are.
Well,
We're
the memorandum is, binding or not binding, but it hasn't been signed yet. It's
it's a
just been
letter
approved.
of intent,
It's
essentially.
it's been approved by the select board,
Got
and
it. Okay. Well, that's a step, but I don't think that would necessarily lock us in. Um, so I think what I'm going to do, because Sunwell's already put together a proposal on this, I need to talk to Sunwealth about it. Or I'm sorry, I need to talk to Select about it. But I think I'm going to ask him to just put together an indicative proposal so we can see how the financials line up.
Yeah, yeah. But I think that's what we would want to see, and that's kind of to Michael and Jane's point is that we're trying to understand with power options when do we initiate that agreement with you, or are you even open to kind of doing this
Yeah, I'm going to
without?
do that. Yeah, I'm going to do this.
Yeah,
With
okay.
your blessing, I wouldn't go rogue and just do it. But
you
if
have our
that's
blessing.
thanks.
Absolutely.
Um, yeah, this is my job. So I'll try to even though we're a nonprofit, you can think about it like a business development kind of cost thing. Like you don't always need to sign a contract to get a proposal. Same deal. Um, so I'll work with Select and see what they're willing to do on this one. It's a little bit tricky just because Sunwealth wants it and Select wants it as well because it's a big project and they like those. But ultimately, I'm gonna advocate for whatever you want to do and whatever your
Okay.
best
The
interest is.
only thing that comes to my mind that is a potential fly in the ointment or complication is that Hyperion is representing a farmer who has property adjacent to the town's landfill. And really, what makes this project work is the shared cost of running about a mile worth of three-phase wire to the site. And so I don't know, if having two different um, developers at this point impacts, you know, the project in any way. I mean,
Okay, maybe.
presumably the utility will just bill, that project and the town 50/50 or whatever. If they're each a meg, then 50/50, and that's it. And I don't know. What's your gut on that?
Well, Michael, I don't think we really don't care how it gets done. We just care about again, the financial benefit. That's anybody who's going to be developing it, they have to figure out that cost, not us,
Yeah,
I
you're
guess.
right. You're right.
Yeah. So I really don't want to go and talk about anybody else on this meeting. We're looking at it strictly from the town side and from the developers, from us as landlords. The developer is going to be incurring that cost, and we really don't have any sway on how those costs are going to get expended.
Yeah, well, it's worth noting because there the if Sunwealth has additional information about, so we'd call that like an interconnection upgrade cost, where you have to finance some amount of infrastructure in order to interconnect your project. And if Sunwealth's, for example, baking that into their proposal and Select wouldn't, then that could make it look artificially low. So I just want to make sure they were aware of that and accounting for that in their project. Um,
I think the farmer, even though we're not talking about other people, is also hoping to be able to work with the town to share that cost.
yeah, I think that would be in scope no matter what. The if the infrastructure needs to get built, then yes, it would be a shared cost. Um, okay. So the other thing, so I think I'm pretty clear on my next steps. I want to talk to Select about this and see what they could put together for an indicative proposal. We usually don't do this, have Sunwealth and Select, bid against each other. The whole value of our program to them is that they give advantageous pricing under our program, but they don't need to go through these kind of bid exercises. But I think I think for a 1.3 megawatt project, they'll do it. Um,
We
so I'll
would
do
we
that.
would pref- we would prefer that they do it. I think it would, in terms of how the town, for it to move forward, having at least two competitive bids for something like this. It shows that again there was a strong process that was followed instead
Sure.
of a single entity.
Yeah, completely understand. It's just their hesitation is going to be they're buried in projects. They might not want to do ones that aren't certain to pay off. But I think I can sell them on this. So um, the other thing, just for diligence, that I wanted to talk about, do you currently have, so what I'm looking at, and I have a copy of Sunwell's proposal, um, in terms of where the credits go for this. Can you use at your town buildings or at your schools, can you use all that production? And do you have any existing credits or contracts for net metering credits that you're aware of?
We have one net meeting contract on the senior center,
Okay.
um, and then the rest of the there's no the rest of the use is significant and supersedes the amount of energy that this thing's going to create.
Okay, so the 1.632 megawatt hours per year, you feel comfortable you have enough accounts to allocate that to?
Yeah, I think we looked at that a while ago, and there's
Okay, good.
schools and sewage treatment plants and so
Yep,
on.
yep, yep.
Pump stations, things like that that are
Oh, good.
Yeah.
constantly running.
Okay, I'm just putting a note in my file here.
And are
Okay,
you aware that Solar Design Associates has already submitted this to Eversource? We just didn't pay to move it along, and so it stopped. But there's has been basing their quote on the existing engineering that's been done.
okay. So do you know if so you don't have a response from Eversource in terms of the interconnection agreement, or do you?
We do not. I don't believe we do because they wanted, 60 grand or something to go up down the line a little bit, and we balked at that point.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that would all be baked into the PPA if you were to move forward with the PPA. Um, the landfill, so do you have a post-closure use permit on the landfill?
Yes.
Okay, great. Because the safe harbor, you may be aware, the safe harbor gives you 4 years to build the project. So as long as you have a peak up on it, you should be good with that. Um, okay, I think I'm pretty comfortable on my end for next steps, which will be first to just approach Select about this and see if they're willing to put together an indicative proposal. If so, great. We'll look at both of them and see which direction we want to go. If not, then I think we have a good path forward with Sunwealth.
What do you think the timing of their response would be?
Couple, whether or not they want to do it, I think couple business days max. If they do want to do it, they may. Um, I'm wondering if they'll need a site visit. I don't think so. Um,
You can get back to us on it if you're not
yeah,
sure.
probably a couple weeks. So at that point, would need to move assertively in one direction or another because what we'll need to do, I don't know what you need for town approvals in order to enter into this, the ultimate contract. So, which would be two parts. There would be the credit purchase agreement under which you're agreeing to buy the credits and at a discount. And then you'd need to enter into the lease agreement too. So different municipalities have different rules around what authorizations need to take place. When's your Springtown meeting?
May 7th.
May 7th. Okay,
So,
so we need to target
so,
that.
so does that all need to be completed by um, July 4th?
So you'd really just need a signed contract before that July 4th date.
So we
So
wouldn't need
early
to,
June though.
we don't need to take that to meeting because they're not spending any money.
Yeah.
The select board can sign that independently.
Okay, then that certainly
But
makes it easier.
yeah, the question would be in terms of contract, are you talking about the PPA or are you talking about the lease or are you talking about everything? All contracts need to be signed by July 4th.
Yes, but I would just rewire that so you're thinking about it like early June because
Right.
that's really yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so the only thing that needs to happen is ju by July 4th is the whoever the ultimate system owner is makes that payment. They need to make a 5 to 10% payment.
So
Um,
June is our deadline. June
right.
1st, let's just say.
So they're not going to make that payment unless they have a signed contract. So what'll probably need to happen on this is that a lot of these projects are developed under special purpose vehicles. So there's some legal finance work on the developer's side to do before they can make that payment. So we want to make sure there's enough lead time. We can't drive it over and slam it on their desk on July 3rd.
Right, right. Um, Also, on your website, do you have at least some type of summary of kind of your process of how you vet everything? I don't know
Yes,
if I,
it's not on our website, but we have a whole memo specifically for this purpose where we describe the statutory framework that allows you to do this through our program, who we are, how our competitive procurement worked, and then some high-level detail on our program. So it's I can send that to you.
that'd be great. That'd be great.
Not to bore Walter with our own internal issues, but if we're going to
I've
meet
heard
a
it all, Michael.
if we're going to meet a June deadline, we have to go to planning board before that, correct?
No,
No, no,
doesn't the builder do planning board?
we don't
That's
do
the
anything.
question.
No, I think that they would go to the planning board.
Yeah, not
Usually,
us.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, but do they have to do that before June, or I mean, I'm just unclear how. What are our internal town roadblocks to meeting this deadline? What are the hoops that
Yeah,
we're gonna?
good
Just
question. No,
legal.
so planning board they can do whatever they want. They just have to pull the permit set and get all those approvals. But from your end, what you'd need to do is get comfortable with the proposal. So either Sunwolf or Select, review the contracts that they're asking you to sign. So that would be a legal review process. Again, we've reviewed them, not an attorney, I'm an energy guy. Um, that does a lot of contract work, but it's still just something you need to do. That can take some time. Who do you use for outside counsel?
Um, yeah, Lisa Mead.
Oh, Lisa Mead knows us and our program, so
Okay,
this wouldn't be a new thing for Lisa.
good.
Um, so that would probably not take too long. Lisa will very likely have some edits that she wants to um, work into the contract, but she's worked with Select extensively in the past, so that should be easy. Um,
And we can give her a heads up, it's going to be coming at some point.
yes, yes. I think once we have a decision on Select or Sunwealth, that would be a good next step. Is just hey Lisa, FYI, and we need it, executed by
Right.
early June.
Tomorrow. No, we'll say tomorrow and see what she does.
Well, she knows this stuff around the deadlines too. There's not too much bluffing Lisa going on. Um,
So is it
what else?
do you think it's too early to schedule another meeting in 2 weeks, or do you want to get back to us? So we would like
Yes.
to, seeing that time is of the essence, we'd like to get as much of the documents that you can provide us for everybody's review, including public review, as soon as you can, so that we can at least have those for a meeting, and that everybody has ample time to kind of do this.
Sure.
And
Yeah, I can follow up with the memo on power options, and we call it our due diligence memo. It's really meant for public entities to circulate internally to get everybody up to speed. I could send that, and then I think for other documents, would want to wait to see which road we were taking.
okay. And as far as you have Sunwell's proposal, are you, is it too early for you to to provide us with comments or concerns about their, not today, but I'm just saying, moving forward, is that something you can provide us with some type of critique of?
Yeah, yes. I would need a lot more detail. So the way our program works, really, in terms of pricing, is that the developers have to send us populated financial models showing exactly how they arrived at their price. So in this case, you're looking at a fixed 18.3 cent rate for this. Um, so we'd just have to see how that was calculated and make sure it conformed to our program rules. Looks about right, considering their utility upgrade costs, um, and for a project like this. But I just can't, that's the extent that I can do now, is looks about right, which I know isn't very helpful. Um,
So Jardul had a question earlier. And they have listed in their proposal a fixed rental rate for the property. Is there any way to change that to have a, inflationary factor built in?
Before we get too far ahead,
Okay.
I think you have an earlier version because
Okay.
no, I'm sorry, but because the proposal I had questioned that 18.13 um, because it was a fixed rate, but they have I believe it was a 2% annual increase. That's what they had sent after. I don't know if that's the document that you have.
so the latest one I'm looking at, I can share my screen here, maybe.
What's the date of the one that you have?
Uh, so this is what I'm looking at. Um, don't they just have January 2026?
I just sent it to you. So the one that I have is yeah, that one is that's not the accurate one. I just sent you the one
Oh,
that's
okay.
because that rate should have increased. We had pointed that out to them. I think when we had discussions with them.
Okay. I'll take a look. We'll do all our diligence on them when we're comparing Select and Sunwealth. But ultimately, I mean, they do have to conform to our program pricing rules. There are a lot of different ways it can be set up. They can give you a fixed lease payment. They can give you a fixed PPA rate for the credits, or they can solve for a lower initial rate with an escalator. What we really solve for is that we account for all the costs and revenues to the project, and then we solve for a target internal rate of return on the project from the project owner's perspective. So there are a lot of different ways a lot of different levers and how you want to get paid, but the financial benefit pie is going to be consistent.
Yeah, and I think to Jane's point is that pilot is that I'm assuming that the pilots are the payment in lieu of taxes is proportional to the size or the generation to some degree of, and we were just, I think the question was, was that appropriate? But again, I'm guessing that's going to be all part of your review and doing the financial modeling.
Yeah, and the town assessors and viewing pilots, they always ask, well, what are all the other towns doing? And so they tend to coalesce. And I think there is some DOR guidance on how to do that.
Okay,
But
great.
yes, part of our whole diligence package.
Perfect.
Do you so with that said, going back to kind of Michael's first kind of question is about what next steps. Do you feel that we're close enough to, because we appreciate all the work that you're going to be doing or are have done. It's just to move things along in terms of being members or not being members. Do you feel like we're at that point where you're comfortable? Like where do you think we are in terms of where you expect us to move forward with your organization?
I think we're fine to wait until we have a direction picked out, a company to work with, a Lisa Mead reviewed contract, and we're good to go. So
Okay,
yeah.
great.
And in terms of overall project timeline, I think this is still doable, but time's tight on this. So, we want to keep pushing the pace and driving things forward. I know it's only March and we still got plenty of snow on the ground, but early June will be here before we know it. So we want to just move assertively. This is a great project, and now is the time to do it.
Yep.
Yeah, and please let us know
Great.
because
Well, we'll be checking in with you, every week just to see where things are at by email, probably. Just to.
Sure.
we would like to schedule subsequent meetings sooner rather than later, and possibly even with maybe a joint meeting with the select board so that they can ask questions as well.
Sure. Yeah, happy to do that. It's just my schedule, with everybody wanting to get their projects done, would have to schedule ahead of time as far as possible. Especially I have two little kids, so evening meetings are tough, but I can make them happen. I just need to do some horse trading with the wife. So, um, very happy to do select board or anything.
Sure.
Jane, does it make sense to stick something on the calendar now for 2 or 3 weeks out for a select board meeting?
I don't think you want to get on a whole select board meeting. I think we should just ask another member of select board. You can't have more than two of us
Mm,
to tune into this.
okay.
So invite somebody.
Yeah, Randy or
Okay.
David, either one.
I think you'd be the best person to
Okay.
determine that. So let us know maybe for
All
the
right.
next meeting we
All right.
can do that.
Yeah.
Great.
Thank you so much, Walter.
You
Indeed.
got it.
Thank you for your time. We look forward to hearing from you.
All right.
Yeah.
Nice meeting you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Thank you, guys.
Motion
Bye-bye.
adjourned. Or does
Um,
anybody have any questions or concerns before we end? John, you've been very quiet.
Yeah, I'm just following along here and taking a few notes and don't really have anything to add. It all sounds wonderful. I hope it works.
Yeah, I think as Jane and Michael have said in the beginning, it's exactly what we needed, and I think it's great that so many things that in terms of having town council be familiar with them and having their experience and how willingness that to help us is remarkable.
I just
Yeah.
during the meeting sent a text to Mike, Randy, and Jennifer and said, if you haven't signed Sunwealth's letter of intent, hold off a bit. So
I think, yeah, good idea.
Good idea. Um, Not to change the subject, but since we're here together and this is not on the agenda, so if I'm not allowed to bring this up right now, then we can do it at a different time. But we do need to schedule a meeting to respond to the open meeting complaint that Tony Fiden has submitted. And is it okay to schedule that right now, or are we going to be in violation of some other meeting law? because it wasn't on our.
No, send around a Google poll or something.
Okay.
How about doing it maybe end of next week?
You have 30 days to respond, and you have to look at the date that he filed it.
Yeah, but
I
we have
believe it's
15 business days to actually meet as a committee.
Sooner than later. End of next week works for me.
well, we received it when? Friday?
When did he send it? Different question.
Uh, don't know.
Uh,
We received it Friday,
All right, go with Friday.
and he didn't. He edited it on Friday.
it was revised on Friday. Okay.
Yeah,
So Friday was, I guess the clock starts then, and we have, was it 14 or 15 business days? I don't remember.
I don't
I
know, but that's only 10 business days if we do it next week, right? Or no,
yeah, you're right.
or late.
Okay. So I was thinking we want to try maybe the 19th or 20th. Maybe shoot for 20th around the same time. Is this a good time for everybody?
Yeah, it's fine with me.
Works for me.
Uh, yeah, could we do 12:30?
12:30 works for me.
Yep.
Okay.
All right.
Great.
Any other comments, concerns, questions?
That's 12:30 next Friday, right? Not this coming.
No, it'd be the 20th, which
20. Oh,
is,
I said that. Okay,
oh, wait a
thanks.
minute. Next Friday, yeah. Not the
A
13th.
week,
This Friday is the
a
13th.
week from Friday.
A week from this Friday, yes.
Okay, great.
Okay.
All right, motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
All in favor? Do we have to do roll call? I believe we
No.
do, right?
No,
No?
we're all present.
Okay. All right, guys, have a good day. Thank you.